I said, it was tough for me, but at the end of the day, like I said, it's just not about me. I love being around my teammates, and I'm going to cheer them on until I can't anymore.
Kemba Hudley Walker, born May 8th, 1990. So I'm watching highlights and veered to a video of Stunted Growth alumni Quentin Grimes setting the Knicks record for points in a game by a rookie since 2006 and most threes in a game by a rookie with 7 against the Milwaukee Bucks. Great to see Grimes get that opportunity and make the most of it. The perfect example of how a stunted growth doesn't always mean it's over. But what caught my eye was a camera pan to the bench, and there's Kemba Walker, in full warm-ups like he hasn't took them off the entire game, cheering on the rookie's effort. It doesn't just look like he hasn't gotten into the game. He didn't. 0 minutes. In fact, in the last 6 games, Kemba Walker has played 0 minutes, all coach's decision. 7 if you count the game he missed to manage the load on him should he play in a back-to-back against Atlanta. This image stayed in my mind and quite frankly shocked me. And if you're not a new fan of basketball, it should shock you too to see a healthy Kemba Walker not even allowed in the game for a team. Not just any team, his hometown Knicks. He's just 31 years old and should still be in the prime of his career. Yet, he's averaging career lows all across the board, except for a career high in three-point percentage at 41% through a small sample size of 18 games. But career lows early in the season I could live with and understand. But DNPs at 31 for the Knicks on a below 500 team is crazy to me. Crazy because Kemba Walker was once one of the best point guards in the league. He became an all-star for the 4th time not even 2 years ago and was one of the more feared defensive covers in basketball. I'm sure before a matchup against Kemba Walker, many thought, just don't get done like this.
Walker on McGee with 4. Kemba Walker, step back, Walker, cardiac Kemba!
He went on to have a stellar NBA start and impactful first 9 seasons in the NBA, where before then, not many saw him as the caliber of player he became. 9 seasons as respected at your position, and 4 of those seasons an all-star, doing it with 2 different teams, put Kemba Walker right on the cusp of being a superstar, until now. The midst of what was supposed to be his best years. We all thought him leaving Charlotte for a championship contending team like Boston couldn't have fit any better, seeing the pieces they had in place to run with him. Surely he could flourish in that environment, and finally we get to see Kemba not just being exciting, but back on a stage he's most comfortable and most deadly, playing for a chance to win it all. What ended up happening since the signing was disappointment after disappointment from Walker's play, or in the case of the 21-22 season, his not playing. Here are 3 reasons Kemba Walker's growth was and is being stunted right before our eyes. Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man.
Never in my life, never in my career, off the court or on the court, it has ever just been about me.
Kemba Walker is a listed 6-foot point guard from the Bronx, New York, and easily one of my favorite guards to watch since his days of dominating at UConn. Before then, he was a star for Rice High School in Harlem, New York, where as a junior, he defeated Derrick Rose on the same Madison Square floor they both share now on live TV. By his senior season's end, he had become a McDonald's and Parade All-American. I still remember that 2008 McDonald's game where everything that year was about Tyreek Evans and Brandon Jennings becoming the next great point guard superstars. At the time, Kemba Walker's name was an afterthought. He had 13 points that game, but went on to have twice the career Jennings or Tyreek ended up having. Why now does his run have to be at halt? Stunt number 1, off to a poor start. You may be wondering how Jennings nor Evans wound up having the career Walker had, even though he's barely 5'11" in my opinion, and smaller than those guys without the hype that surrounded them as amateurs. It's because of Kemba's playstyle, one that was perfect for the NBA. Walker is a feared cover because he's not only crafty with his ball handling like an artist creating kinetic pieces, but he had this herky-jerky first step that got you off balance, then stopped on a dime like no other I've seen outside maybe Deron Williams. This first step left defenses on no man's land when he finally began to shoot the deep ball and mid-range more effectively. You literally couldn't stop him from touching the paint, and when you were too afraid to guard him close, he just rose up confidently and hit 39% of his threes at one point in the NBA. Before then, he came into UConn and took a back seat to upperclassmen Jerome Dyson and AJ Price, having a modest first year. He increased his average as a sophomore, but his junior year is what really put him on the map. Specifically the Big East tournament, where he went insane, leading his team to winning 5 games in 5 days to win the Big East tournament in dramatic fashion. Then taking that energy into a miracle of an NCAA tournament run where his UConn team, with a roster no one thought championship caliber, won the entire thing. He averaged 23.5 points and 4.5 assists. An obvious lottery pick coming into the draft as the hottest name in the pool. Walker was taken 9th by the Charlotte Bobcats, later the original name the Charlotte Hornets. He played 8 seasons with the Hornets, averaging 20 points and 5 assists, with a career high of 25 points a game in his final season, a Hornet. Over the years, he's battled numerous small nagging knee issues, but always managed to bounce back. As of 2021, this seems it won't be one of those times. Because of the knees, he's lost that first step that was so hard and deliberate that makes him now a little slower offensively. He no longer can beat people off the dribble and rarely even tries anymore, as if he knows physically he can't take it. Since he went to Boston, this was clear. Stunt number 2, Coach Tibbs. Kemba Walker, with his nagging knee history over the last few seasons that caused him to lose his first step, already a size liability on defense, now on offense as well, is the wrong person for a Tom Thibodeau coach team, especially in the starting lineup, where Coach Tibbs loves constant and precise defense and to play his starters heavy minutes. He's been known not to take it easy on players' bodies, best example the 2012 playoffs where he attempted to run former MVP Derrick Rose into the ground, like he was doing all season, and the course of Rose's career that likely caused an early injury and stunted said career. Thibodeau has since kept that style of coaching this year with the Knicks, and with Kemba being a defensive liability with his height and lack of first step to keep the defense in front of him, he's now unplayable in the coach's rotation. Along with the fact he's just not playing well. He got off to a poor start this year and in 18 games only reached 20 points twice. He's had more than a handful of them under 10 points and had a couple 4-game stretches doing just that. For a defensive-minded coach that wants to play his players if they fit the mold, Kemba finds himself a misfit and on the bench. Stunt number 3, leaving Charlotte. I understand that at the time, leaving the Hornets seemed to be the next step in Kemba's evolution, but in hindsight, because he and the Hornets couldn't work out a satisfactory deal for their then star, causing him to sign with the Celtics actually hurt Walker individually and his legacy as a whole. He could have stayed with the Hornets where he was comfortable and had the green light every night throughout their building stages and be there now with the wings and bigs they have and could have led them to at least a perennial playoff team. The Celtics and Brad Stevens were another bad fit. Too many stars, not the green light he once had, and a coach that also pushes defense and high defensive IQ, preferably naturally. Walker was traded to OKC in 2021 and waived a month later, then signed with the Knicks and has been in decline for the last 3 years. He may not have won, but he'd keep his scoring averages high and his confidence, maybe even his health. This season is the worst of his career by far, making it clear home isn't his final stop. All in all, I miss Kemba Walker being Kemba Walker. He was developing into a great player along with a great role model for the sport. He's handled this situation well, but I hope it doesn't last much longer. Seeing him sit the bench all game is frustrating, but I get it. He's had a great basketball run, but for these reasons, his growth is being stunted. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth, and I'm out.